We need to change how we do things in schools in America today. It's very evident from curriculum, content, organization of schools. There's a lot of things that need to be changed. However, there's a lot of simple things that needs to be changed in schools as well. When we think about a school, one of the things that we talk about is school's an institution. There's a lot of institutions in America, things like a church, or a bar, or a baseball stadium. You go to those things, as soon as you walk in, you know where you're at, you know what it is, it's very evident. Well, tragically, school's kind of the same way. When you walk into a school, as soon as you walk into a school building, you know you're in a school because they all look the same, they all feel the same. As I walk into a school building and I walk down a hallway and I enter a classroom, the first thing that sticks out to me is it looks like every other classroom that I go to in America. I look around and there's the desk. And so as we talk about this disruption, let's talk about some of the simple things. Let's talk about one of the most simplest thing, and that is that school desk. So I look at this thing and I first think, where does this thing come from? And I know there's pictures, and you can go back and you go to antique shops and you can find them, and those same school desks are almost the identical school desks were around 100 years ago. They were built for durability and probably had some functionality when we really wanted kids to all sit in rows and be disciplined, and we were training them to march around and work in factories. Today's different though. That may not be our expectation for kids today. But when we go into that room, that desk, it's still the same old desk. It's still got the tabletop is connected to the seat. They're both made of some type of hard plastic or fiberglass. So I walk up to this thing and I know it looks terribly uncomfortable, so I'm going to try to sit down, but you can't just pull it up and sit down. You can't pull up a chair. No, you got to get to the side of this thing. You got to get in and you got to kind of slide in. It's just kind of crazy. When I go any place in the world other than a school, you don't find these things. You go to homes and nobody has school desks in their home. But when you go into businesses or when you go into creative workspaces, you're not going to find these desks. And that's where we get into the crux of what's wrong in America with education. We are training our kids to be productive citizens in a relevant real world. And yet, our learning spaces are designed in a way that have no relevance to any type of real-world things. The school desk is one of the most prime examples of this. When I go into a creative space, the first thing that I see is that it's a very comfortable environment. It's a creative environment. It's a place where we want our thinkers to think, and we want them to be comfortable, and we want them to be encouraged to use their brilliant minds. In 2006, Ken Robinson did a TED Talk in which he talked about how schools are designed to strip students of their creativity. And there's no thing that does more to strip students of creativity than making them come day after day after day sitting in these desks. Can you imagine if you had to get up and you had to go to work each day and you had to sit in that desk for an hour to an hour and a half at a time, only to be able to get up, walk down the hallway, spend 4 or 5 minutes, maybe run to the bathroom real quick, and then go to another classroom where you have to sit for another hour to an hour and a half in that same exact desk? That is not something that any of us as adults would want to do, but yet every day, that's our expectation of our kids. That's why in America we've got to disrupt things. We got to do things differently. We got to look at a lot of things in American schools. But we've also got to look at some of the smallest things, and that's things like this school desks. We've got to quit buying these for our schools. We've got to redesign our spaces for our students. We've got to create creative spaces that inspire kids, not spaces that nobody would want to be in. I sure wouldn't want to sit in one of these chairs. Your children don't want to sit in these chairs. Nobody wants to sit in these chairs. We need to change education in America. We need to disrupt how we do things.